The gates of Elon Musk's Los Angeles estate were known to be airtight, protected by biometric scans, encrypted codes, and armed security. But that morning, something strange happened. A disheveled, barefoot teenager with hollow eyes and dirt-streaked cheeks somehow made it past the perimeter. He didn't sneak in. He simply walked through, as if the mansion had been expecting him. Security footage later showed that the gate, flawless for years, had malfunctioned just as the boy approached. A sensor glitch? A coincidence? No one could explain it, not even Musk's head of cybersecurity. Inside, the staff froze. The boy, who looked about 17, wandered past a fleet of Teslas and a towering SpaceX rocket model in the courtyard. He wasn't stealing. He wasn't panicked. He just looked lost. One staffer tried to stop him, but the boy raised a trembling hand and said, "I just need to talk to Mr. Musk, please. I think he'd want to hear what I have to say." Word traveled fast. Within minutes, Elon was notified, and he made a decision that stunned everyone. "Don't throw him out," he said. "Bring him to the garden." As the boy waited under the shade of a magnolia tree, unaware of the whirlwind he'd just stepped into, a revolution of empathy was already taking root. Elon Musk stepped out onto the marble veranda, the afternoon sun casting sharp shadows across the garden. He wasn't dressed for press or boardrooms, just a plain gray t-shirt and dark jeans, barefoot, as if pulled out of deep thought. His eyes scanned the scene until they landed on the boy sitting beneath the old magnolia tree near the hedge. No bodyguards, no advisors, just Elon, and a kid who clearly didn't belong in a billionaire's backyard. The boy, maybe 15 or 16, stood slowly, brushing dirt from his tattered jeans. His eyes were alert, but not afraid. "I'm not here to steal anything," he said. "I didn't even know this was your house." Elon raised an eyebrow. "Then why are you here?" The boy paused, took a deep breath, and replied, "I wasn't looking for shelter. I was looking for a signal." For a moment, Elon just stared at him, caught off guard by the sincerity in his voice. "A signal?" he repeated. "Yeah, not Wi-Fi or GPS or whatever. A human signal. Something that says it's still okay to hope." The words hit harder than expected. Elon, the man who had built rockets to escape Earth's gravity, suddenly felt the full weight of it pressing on his chest. He gestured toward the bench. "Sit." They talked. For almost an hour, the boy shared fragments of his life. Parents lost to addiction, a system that never cared. Nights spent in abandoned construction sites, reading books he found in dumpsters. His name was Liam. He didn't want money. He wanted meaning. "You ever build something?" Liam asked. "Not because someone told you to, but because you had to." Elon chuckled softly. "That's the only way I've ever built anything." Something shifted. This wasn't a random trespasser. This was a spark, a reminder. A kid with nothing had just reignited something in a man who had everything. And just like that, Elon made a decision. Not just for Liam, but for all the kids like him. Tomorrow, everything would change. The next morning, the energy in Elon's estate had shifted. The usual quiet hum of engineers and assistants had given way to hushed whispers. A few members of his staff had noticed the boy at breakfast, sitting across from Elon at the long oak table, wearing a clean t-shirt, slightly oversized, and sipping orange juice like it was the first time he'd ever had it cold. Some were uneasy, others curious, but Elon was calm, focused. "Tell me again about the shelter you stayed at last month," Elon asked. Fork paused halfway to his mouth. "It was full. They let me sleep in the hallway near the mop closet. Said if I stayed quiet, I could come back. But there's this hum from the vending machine that keeps you up." like the world reminding you you're not supposed to rest. Elon didn't respond immediately. Instead, he opened his tablet, pulled up a design schematic, and rotated the screen toward Liam. This is a self-powered micro-shelter. Solar adaptive, insulated, collapsible. It's a prototype I started and abandoned 3 years ago. But I think you just reminded me why it matters. Liam blinked. You're building pods for homeless people? No, Elon said, pausing. I'm building launch pads. Safety first, but purpose next. Liam leaned in. You think I'm, like, part of that? Elon didn't miss a beat. You're not a problem, Liam. I think you're a prototype. Liam looked away, suddenly overwhelmed. For someone who'd spent most of his life ignored, the weight of being seen, really seen, was more than emotional. It was disorienting. I don't even know what I'd do with a second chance, he muttered. You don't need to, Elon replied. That's the beauty of a prototype. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. That morning, Elon summoned his design team. No briefings, no press. Just one directive. We're building for people who've never had a blueprint. And in the center of it all, Liam, no longer just a lost kid, was about to become the most unexpected voice in a revolution nobody saw coming. Later that week, the mansion's innovation lab, usually filled with sleek adult engineers in smart glasses and quiet focus, saw something rare. A barefoot teenager hunched over a keyboard, coding like he'd been born doing it. Liam wasn't just adapting, he was accelerating. Elon watched from the upper gallery, arms folded, face unreadable. His chief systems engineer leaned in and whispered, Sir, the algorithm he just wrote for real-time thermal regulation, it's elegant, beyond what our interns deliver. And he wrote it in Python, then cross-checked it in Rust. Elon raised an eyebrow. On his own? Without even Googling it. Word spread quickly. Staff began lingering longer near the lab, offering snacks, spare advice, sometimes just standing silently as Liam worked. But he wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was building, like his life depended on it. At one point, a senior designer approached him. Where'd you learn to code like that? Liam didn't even glance up. I used to sneak into a library near Santa Monica, read programming books till they kicked me out. Some nights I slept under the tech aisle. The room went quiet. Elon descended the staircase slowly and approached Liam. You know what this reminds me of? He said, voice low. Zip 2, my first company. Me and my brother sleeping on beanbags in a small office, learning everything the hard way. No one gave us permission. We just started. Liam finally looked up. So what happened? We sold it, Elon smiled. And then the real work began. Liam smirked, but his eyes were filled with something deeper. Fire. The kind that couldn't be taught, only discovered. Do I need permission to keep going? He asked. No, Elon said. But if you want it, you've got mine. At that moment, something subtle shifted, not in the lab, but in the story that was unfolding. Liam was no longer just a guest. He was becoming a co-author in a vision Elon had long carried alone. The prototype project had a name now. Project Shelter X, designed by visionaries, engineered by necessity, and sparked by a boy no one had seen coming. Within a matter of days, what started as Liam's late-night sketches on Elon's whiteboard evolved into a fully functional prototype. Shelter X wasn't just a name anymore, it was a mission. The goal, to design ultra-portable, solar-powered shelter units that could be deployed in any urban area within 24 hours, offering heat, water filtration, and digital access points. The vision was revolutionary. But what stunned the SpaceX engineers most wasn't the technology. It was the simplicity of it. And that simplicity came from Liam. Liam walked into Elon's office one morning, hair still wet from a shower, holding a tangle of wires, a chip, and a 3D printed shell. "It fits in a backpack," he said. "Takes 8 minutes to deploy. All modular, built from e-waste and recyclable plastics." Elon took it in his hands. "You built this in 5 days?" Liam shrugged. "Yeah. Had the concept for years, just never had the parts, or a 3D printer." The following day, Elon gathered his inner circle in the Falcon Room, a high-security chamber where only his most sensitive projects were discussed. "This kid," Elon began, motioning to Liam seated beside him, "did more in 5 days with our scraps than some teams do in a fiscal quarter. He didn't ask for funding. He asked for tools. And he turned homelessness into an engineering challenge." One executive shifted uncomfortably. "Are you suggesting we put our name behind a charity?" Elon narrowed his eyes. "Number, I'm saying we put our name behind dignity, behind genius, and behind the idea that being homeless doesn't mean being hopeless." Silence. Then Elon turned to Liam. "You ready for what comes next?" Liam hesitated. "What does come next?" Elon leaned in. "We launch this, globally, starting here in LA, but there's one condition." Liam braced himself. "You lead it." A quiet buzz moved through the room. Liam looked at the executives, then back at Musk. I'm not a CEO." "You're not," Elon said. "Yet." That night, the mansion was quiet. Liam stood on the balcony, holding a tablet, staring at the Shelter X blueprint. Below, lights from the city flickered like stars trapped on Earth. Beside him, Elon appeared, coffee in hand. "You know," he said, "most of the people building the future are still underestimated by the present." Liam nodded. "You think I can really do this?" "No," Elon said. "I know you can." In the distance, the first Shelter X unit was already being tested, set up by a volunteer team in Skid Row. A homeless veteran stepped inside it for the first time. He sat, eyes wide, as soft light filled the room and warm air circulated through clean vents. He smiled, and for the first time in years, he whispered, "Thank you." But the words weren't heard in that small shelter. They echoed through code, through data, through a story that had only just begun. It started with a simple clip, 22 seconds, filmed on a volunteer's phone in Skid Row. It showed a man walking into a small, futuristic pod, then sitting down as soft lights flickered on. The caption read, "He hasn't slept indoors in 9 years. Tonight, he will." By morning, the video had 8 million views. By evening, it was over 50 million. Mainstream outlets rushed in. "Is this the future of housing?" asked CNN. "Teen prodigy partners with Elon Musk to end street homelessness," said The Guardian. By day 3, Liam was trending globally. That night, a special request came in. 60 Minutes wanted to interview Elon. But Musk declined. "Interview Liam instead," he told the producer. "He built it. He should explain it." Liam sat in a studio the next day, nervous in a too large suit. Across from him sat Anderson Blake, known for his hard-hitting, no-nonsense interviews. "So, Liam," Anderson began, "you're 14. You've been homeless. You've been invisible. Now, you're here, with Elon Musk, building shelters that governments failed to design. How did this happen?" Liam cleared his throat. I just built what I wished existed." "And why do you think people are reacting so strongly?" "Because no one ever thought someone like me could build anything valuable," he said, eyes focused. "But I've met people out there. Kids, veterans, single moms. They're not lazy. They're lost. And nobody gives them a map. Shelter X isn't just a place to sleep. It's the start of a map. The room went quiet. Anderson leaned forward. "Do you think you've saved lives?" Liam looked away, then back. "Not yet, but we will." The interview aired that night, and the world erupted. Governors tweeted their support. Tech billionaires offered funding. NGOs pleaded for licensing rights. But one message stood out from the rest. A handwritten letter delivered by courier to Elon's house. It read, "Dear Mr. Musk and Liam, I'm 12. My mom and I live in a car. Last night, we saw your shelter in our city. I cried. She cried. Because it meant someone saw us. Please don't stop. Ava C." Elon passed the note to Liam. "She's why we keep going," he said simply. Later that night, Liam stood again on the balcony, this time not alone. Elon's son X joined him, quiet as ever. "She reminds me of us," Liam said. X nodded. "And soon, she won't have to write letters like that. She'll be building things too." From the mansion's roof, the lights of Los Angeles looked different now. Less like a city trying to forget its shadows, and more like a place beginning to shine through them. And somewhere inside that light, Shelter X had just become a movement. Elon Musk's Bel Air mansion was no longer just a fortress of steel and solar elegance. It had become the staging ground for something no tech analyst, no tabloid, no late-night comedian could have predicted: a grassroots revolution, led by a teenager who once had nothing. Within days of Liam's 60 Minutes interview, Shelter X prototypes were being printed in real time on the mansion's lawn. Elon had personally authorized the rerouting of SpaceX engineers to assist with modular design iterations. "This matters more," he told them. "We've solved escape velocity. Now, let's solve dignity." Meanwhile, something strange began happening outside the gates. Dozens of unhoused families began appearing, not with signs or shouts, but with questions. "Can I help build one? Do you need volunteers? I used to be a plumber. Can I help?" Instead of turning them away, Elon opened the gates. The front yard became a collaborative lab. Former architects without homes sketched designs on paper bags. Ex-veterans debated insulation strategies. A mother with 3 kids made handwritten signs in English and Spanish that read, "We're building hope here." Inside, Liam was glued to a digital tablet, tracking real-time deployment requests from cities around the world: São Paulo, Manila, Istanbul, Detroit. "We're going to need a manufacturing hub," he muttered. Musk raised an eyebrow. "Then we'll build one." Aerial drones captured daily footage of the mansion-turned-hub, and those videos quickly turned viral. Hashtags like Musk Mission and Our Shelter X now trended in 40 countries. Donations surged. Blue-collar workers in Ohio sent $5. Refugees in Greece messaged their thanks. But not everyone was pleased. City officials from Los Angeles appeared one morning with legal notices. "You can't just run a housing development out of a residential property," one said. "Even if you're, well, you." Elon didn't blink. He handed the man a VR headset. "Put this on." Inside the simulation, officials were guided through a Shelter X unit in immersive 3D. They saw a mother putting her baby to sleep, a teen studying under a solar lamp, a father practicing job interview questions in front of a mirror. When the headset came off, the man had tears in his eyes. "You're changing what home means," he said quietly. "We'll make it work." By week's end, Elon's front lawn was no longer grass. It was a mini-village. Drone-charged solar towers dotted the perimeter. Kids rode scooters between units. Engineers and former street dwellers shared blueprints over shared meals. One night, as Liam stood beside a newly built Shelter X pod, Elon approached with 2 mugs of hot cocoa. "You built this," Elon said, handing one to Liam. We built this, Liam corrected him, glancing around. All of us. Together. A girl no older than 8 skipped by, holding a stuffed bear and laughing. For the first time, her mother didn't look afraid. And in that moment, on the lawn of a billionaire, a revolution didn't just begin. It blossomed. The morning sun spilled across the Shelter X village that had once been Elon Musk's front lawn. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning for temperature fluctuations in pods to optimize insulation. Children laughed. Engineers scribbled code on whiteboards set up between solar trees. Inside the mansion, Liam was sipping orange juice when a staff member rushed in. Elon, it's the White House. Musk glanced up from a blueprint. Which department? No, the staffer said, breathless. The White House. A moment later, the call connected. The president's voice came through, steady but unmistakably charged. Elon, Liam, I watched the interview, the shelters, the maps. I've seen what you're doing. There was a pause. You're not just building housing. You're rewriting the way we think about community. And I think it's time we stop watching from the sidelines. Musk leaned back, his eyes narrowing. With respect, sir, people have been waiting too long for that. You're right, the president admitted. That's why I'm not offering congratulations. I'm offering partnership. Within 48 hours, the announcement hit every major news outlet. The U.S. government would pilot Shelter X units in 5 major cities, under the leadership of Elon Musk and Liam. But not everyone cheered. Critics called it a tech overreach. Others said it was a PR stunt. One news anchor sneered, "Do we really want billionaires and homeless kids designing public policy?" Liam didn't respond with a press release. He responded with action. He invited that anchor to spend 24 hours in a Shelter X unit, live on air. The segment, streamed to 30 million people, ended with the anchor hugging Liam, tears in his eyes. Back at the mansion, the team expanded. Artists came in to decorate the pods. Psychologists volunteered to build emotional safety protocols. A retired chef organized hot meal rotations. And every evening, Elon and Liam walked through the village side by side. You know, Liam said one night, I used to think the worst part of being homeless was the cold. But really, it was being invisible. Musk nodded slowly. We're changing that, 1 unit at a time. That same evening, Ava, the 12-year-old girl who'd written the letter, arrived with her mom. They had just moved into a Shelter X pod in East L.A. As she stepped out of the car, Ava ran straight toward Liam and hugged him tightly. I kept your letter, he whispered. She looked up. I kept your interview. It wasn't just a story anymore. It was a movement made of metal and hope, of circuits and second chances. A movement that began when a billionaire opened his door to a boy society forgot. Now, the world couldn't forget him if it tried. And somewhere beneath the stars, on a lawn that once meant luxury, stood a future reimagined by 2 unlikely dreamers and the thousands they refused to leave behind. As the morning sun lit up the Musk estate, Elon walked down the grand staircase with a tablet in hand. X and Jace sat at the breakfast table, Jace still marveling at the futuristic cutlery and touch-sensitive surfaces. Elon sat across from him, calm but observant. Jace, he began, you came here for shelter. But I see something more. You didn't ask for charity. You spoke like someone who's been thinking deeply, on your own, for a long time. Jace looked down, unsure how to respond. I've read the Note X found in your backpack, Elon continued. The design sketches, the notes on wireless energy distribution, the essay on why capitalism needs a reboot. Those aren't things a typical 16-year-old writes, X chimed in. I told you, Dad. He's different. Elon nodded slowly. So here's the deal. You'll stay, but not as a guest. You'll be part of something. Jace's eyes widened. We're building a decentralized learning institute, a think tank for young minds like yours. You'll help design it, shape it. You'll be the proof that genius doesn't only come from privilege. Jace sat back, stunned. The boy who slept in alleys was now being invited to help reshape the educational systems of tomorrow. Outside, a drone hovered silently, capturing this quiet breakfast with historical consequences. 2 years later, the ribbon-cutting ceremony drew global attention. The media gathered around a sleek, solar-powered building shaped like a double helix, the Helios Institute. Jace, now taller and sharper in presence, stood next to Elon and X. Dignitaries, scientists, and world leaders were present, not to celebrate wealth, but to celebrate reinvention. A journalist asked Elon, "Why him? Why take in a stranger?" Elon responded with a soft smile. He wasn't a stranger. He was a mirror. Sometimes society throws away its best mirrors because they're cracked, but a cracked mirror can still show you the truth. The crowd applauded. Jace took the podium. I was homeless, forgotten, but I had ideas. Elon didn't just give me a roof, he gave me a reason. If this institute can find one more kid like me, it's all worth it. Tears filled the eyes of many in the crowd. As the ceremonial switch was flipped, solar panels lit up, screens blinked alive, and the Helios Institute came to life, powered by the sun, but driven by something stronger: belief. Elon looked at X and Jace, one his son, the other his student, and said quietly, "Let's build a world where every genius finds a home." The story of a boy breaking into a billionaire's mansion ended not in scandal, but in hope. And hope, it turns out, may be Elon Musk's greatest invention yet. 2 years later, the ribbon-cutting ceremony drew global attention. The media gathered around a sleek, solar-powered building shaped like a double helix, the Helios Institute. Jace, now taller and sharper in presence, stood next to Elon and X. Dignitaries, scientists, and world leaders were present, not to celebrate wealth, but to celebrate reinvention. A journalist asked Elon, "Why him? Why take in a stranger?" Elon responded with a soft smile. He wasn't a stranger. He was a mirror. Sometimes society throws away its best mirrors because they're cracked, but a cracked mirror can still show you the truth. The crowd applauded. Jace took the podium. I was homeless, forgotten, but I had ideas. Elon didn't just give me a roof, he gave me a reason. If this institute can find one more kid like me, it's all worth it. Tears filled the eyes of many in the crowd. As the ceremonial switch was flipped, solar panels lit up, screens blinked alive, and the Helios Institute came to life, powered by the sun, but driven by something stronger: belief. Elon looked at X and Jace, one his son, the other his student, and said quietly, "Let's build a world where every genius finds a home." The story of a boy breaking into a billionaire's mansion ended not in scandal, but in hope. And hope, it turns out, may be Elon Musk's greatest invention yet.